Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello and welcome to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we've got a very special guest. Her name is Kelly Edmondson, and Kelly's got quite an interesting story. After working as a trauma nurse and enduring the loss of her son, Darius, Kelly saw firsthand how support for grieving families often falls away after the funeral. And so she founded a company called Timely Presence to transform that pattern. And her service is not just a single gesture, but structured support over an entire year. And we were just chatting for a second. I said, wow, that's brand new out here. So Kelly, welcome to the show. It's great to meet you.
Nice to meet you also. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? You were a trauma nurse and then it sounds like you endured some serious trauma.
Yeah, so trauma, ICU and ER nursing. I've been a nurse for 25 years. It sounds obscene to say that,
Uh,
but it's
I
true.
hear you. I hear you.
And started out really taking care of some of the sickest patients ever. So, car accidents, gunshot wounds, people with lives interrupted. And I had really the sacred responsibility of being in very intimate spaces with people at the end of life. And so I have been with hundreds of families as they've said their final goodbyes. I've had to tell dozens of mothers that their sons were gone.
Wow.
And I really think that I have a knack for that. My maiden name is Thomas, so they used to call me Trauma Thomas.
Oh, wow.
And they would call me into those cases because I really felt like it was a calling to be able to sit in those sacred moments with people. And I did it well. I did it well.
That is,
Um,
like you were saying, that is truly a sacred time. It's, as I get older, I've dealt with more and more deaths, and I've been with a number of people as they took their last breath, and it's a it's a powerful and deeply moving time that if you're able to share that with family and offer, some kind of comfort, it can be hugely valuable. And that's when all the difficulty really begins, like I don't know how many people really prepare for it. A lot of times things happen suddenly or you just don't think they're going to happen.
that's
And
right.
then all of a sudden you've got, to deal with, a funeral and memorial service and all of the, life issues, death certificates and transferring things and dealing with debts or whatever. I mean, it could be anything, right? Or if it's your own child, I couldn't imagine that, but I know you've been through it. And I know people who have lost, their children. And like you said, life gets interrupted in a
Yes, it
powerful
does.
way. I just getting to the other side of a big cancer battle, and my life got interrupted
Mhm.
in a big way. And I, came to the spot where I thought, I had to deal with that. I have to reckon with it. And it, it's a difficult thing to think about when you're alive. And so,
It is.
and I think a lot of people, they put so many things aside, they don't think about, the relationships and all the, the things that we find so important when we're just going through our normal life. And then all of a sudden, the funeral's over and everybody's, had their big moment, shared their condolences and all of that. And then, my wife's a widow, so she's told me a lot of the stories about
Mm.
afterward. And it's like there was a big period of her life where she just felt all alone and there was, nobody around and nobody, everybody said what they had to say and now what. And so it sounds like you found a way to kind of reach into that difficult time.
Yeah, you're exactly right. People do, they come, they want to support you, right? People want to do the right thing. So they come, they bring flowers and plants and
Yeah.
food, which you're not ready to eat, and
Right.
all the things. And I always say the hardest days come later. They're later.
Yeah.
My hard day was he died in January. My son died in January. Darius had epilepsy
Okay.
and had a seizure in his sleep.
How old was he?
And he was 28 years old
Wow.
and just taking off life. Bought his first house to
Wow.
flip. He was a realtor. He was just catching his stride. And we grew up together. I
Uh-huh.
got married very young, so I had him at 18. So we
Okay.
were friends, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that he died in January and Mother's Day's in May.
Wow.
And uh, you don't realize how much celebration there is for Mother's Day. Every commercial, every
Right.
grocery store, right? It's everywhere. And I was struggling with the anxiety of preparing for that day. And my mom and my sister, my niece, my daughter, my son's girlfriend, they all came and
Yeah.
like surprised me with memories of him.
Wow.
Yes. And what would have been the darkest day was made lighter because I was able to do the only thing I wanted to do that day, which was talk about him. Right? And they made it safe I wasn't making people uncomfortable with bringing
Right.
him up. I wasn't alone
Right.
in this. They were there. And I said in that moment, everybody should have this.
Wow.
It changed that entire weekend, which started so bleak and dark for me. And it made it a weekend full of love and laughter and memories. And it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous.
Wow. And how long since your son has passed?
So he passed January of 2023.
Oh, okay. So it's very recent.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So this is and this was they just got together and decided to do this out of nowhere.
Yeah, they just did. They just did. I
Wow.
just have been blessed with good people and they just did. And
Wow.
that became an idea that I hope sparks a difference in the way that we treat people who are dealing with loss.
Wow. So this impacted you to the point where you realized that, if you had some way that you can offer some scenario that's even like that, you're going to help, like you said, the darkness, you go through your grieving stages, whatever they want to call them, but it keeps repeating
Mhm.
because the people are still gone.
That's right. And the
And
birthdays come,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And each time that there's that reminder and there's that, and like you said, you start talking about the past and people get a little squeamish, they don't know what to do, they don't know what to say. So unless somebody brings that to you as hey, let's celebrate this, it's not a thing that, sorry, I get all weepy when I do all this stuff sometimes, but it's it's not something that people are generally comfortable
That's right.
in dealing with, and you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do,
That's right.
you don't know where to go and not go because there's no rule book for it.
That's right.
Everybody's different, unique, but I don't think people realize that aren't the ones directly affected by these losses. I don't think people realize that it's just a recurring, it's like a bad Groundhog Day. It just
That's right.
keeps coming back. And like, even if you're ready for it, you just never ready for it. And yet it seems like there's a kind of a simple relief for it. Just
That's
somebody
right.
come
That's
along and
right.
say, hey, let's celebrate a little something.
That's right. What I say is the silence is deafening,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's it's the loudest thing. And I tell you, people don't know what to say. And I used to be one of those people, right? I was very comfortable in the moments of death because of the work that I'd done as
Huh?
a nurse, but I didn't know what to say. I didn't even know that I needed to say something at month 2.
Right.
Right. I didn't even know that. And I've learned that. And, through this journey, I decided to become a grief counselor because I wanted to understand better how to support people. And so, yeah, we've just decided to build something that will show up for you. Because the other thing is life does go on for the
Right.
living,
Yes.
right? And so
And it's supposed to.
that's exactly right. So it's hard to remember what your sister's wedding anniversary was.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you're planning your own Christmas. It's hard to think about what to do for her for Christmas because her husband isn't there.
Right.
And so
Right.
we've decided to build something where you don't even have to think, right? We show up, we show up with things that are heirloom quality, they're personalized to their person, and you get all of the opportunity to provide the comfort for them that you wanted to anyway without the labor
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
doing it. And so, I really do think this is my way of making his legacy alive. My sister says all the time, when he first died, you said, I'm going to find a purpose in this. There has to be a purpose in this.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have done just that. And, that's the thing too. It's like if you're able to find purpose in a loss like that, you literally keep that spirit alive all the time.
That's right. All the time.
Every time you're helping somebody else, there's a connection to your son
That's right.
that's alive and real, it's
That's right.
that's powerful. I'm impressed. Like I said, when I first saw the inquiry for this, I kind of cocked my head to the side a little bit. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what's going on, but seriously was we deal with a lot of different topics, and mental health and emotional health is,
Mhm.
in my opinion, equally as important as physical health, and
Mhm.
contributes to physical health in a dramatic way. People get depressed and can't come out of it, and it can contribute to all kinds of problems. And uh, eh, this is one of those kind of things that sometimes people don't come out of. They don't, in fact, spouses that are together for a long time, generally when one goes, the other one follows along pretty quickly afterward. And I can't help but think maybe that doesn't have to be that way.
There's actually science behind that. You're exactly right. The rates of heart failure, heart attacks, heart disease in people who are grieving are higher. People with unresolved grief die quicker,
Right.
um, die quicker, sicker,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Than
It
than
affects
than
everything.
other
Yeah.
people.
Absolutely. And especially things like sleep and your ability to eat right, or even your propensity to, deal with things like addiction and all of that. People find every reason in the world to go and, numb themselves or not have to think about it. So, wow. So, what was the process that came from this Mother's Day experience with your loved ones to your business that you have now?
Yeah, so I was actually in a PhD program at the time. So I was studying healthcare innovation and I dropped out.
Oh,
I
wow.
dropped out. I was maybe a year and a half from completion and I dropped out.
Uh,
And I enrolled in an executive MBA for entrepreneurial studies.
wow. That's other side of this spectrum there. Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters, and for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you.
And I built this business through the program. That's what I did.
Oh, no kidding. All right.
Yeah, it was my case study through the program. And
Yeah.
so I studied things. I am a nurse. I'm a nurse.
Yeah.
I'm an executive now. I'm a nurse executive, but I'm in healthcare. So I had to learn supply chain,
Right.
marketing, right? I mean, finance. I mean, things about running a business I didn't know.
Yeah.
But it was all built on the case study of timely presence. That's the name, timely presence, because that's the goal, to be present at the right time, right? So I built it through there, and I learned class by class, brick by brick, how to build this in a way that was sustainable and that would be impactful. And so my younger son, who is actually the one that called and told me that Darius had died.
Oh, wow.
My husband and I were on a cruise ship at the time.
Oh, my goodness.
And so my son, who was 22, had the burden of calling me and saying, Mom, I don't know how to tell you this, right? A terrible task for a kid that age.
Yeah.
He's my partner in this.
Oh,
And
nice.
so
Wow.
we have learned it's beautiful, how to secure the products. And we really went, we did a lot of research because I wanted to know what to buy, right? I had the concept. I know that we want to send it on emotionally charged days, but what do you send?
Yeah.
And the reality is there's people dying around you all the time.
Right.
And so
When we get older, it happens a lot more quickly and a lot more often. Yeah.
I started asking people, I bought people things. I asked people what their favorite memorial gift that they received was. I asked them what is it that you miss about your loved one, right? And so wind chimes are super popular.
Oh, yeah. I like that. It's a constant reminder. Yeah.
Yes, it's an interactive gift, right? I feel like my son is talking to me.
It's musical, yeah.
That's right.
That's very powerful energetically.
Yes. So we send wind chimes on the departed's birthday. That's the gift that you get, right? Because it's personal. It's super personal. For a wedding anniversary, we send a widow beautiful bouquet of preserved red roses. So they get about 40 red roses that live 5 years.
Oh, wow.
They're stunning, right? Because it's an anniversary. Women get them often.
Yeah.
We send men self-care kits because our goal is for them to take care of themselves. And I know wives have a lot to do with that. When you're missing your wife, you need a reminder. We send a gift at Christmas, and I really struggled with Christmas. Right?
Yeah, that could be anywhere in the spectrum.
Yeah. Or the holidays. I shouldn't just say Christmas, as we send it in the holiday season. So we thought about ornaments, all kinds of things, but we landed on these beautiful engraved crystal candle holders.
Okay.
Because they reflect light.
Right.
And they're stunning. And you look at them and you don't think death.
Right.
You think light. You think life, right? And so
people light a candle for all sorts of reasons.
That's
and
right.
the Jewish, they have the whole menorah. That's all part of their whole ceremony. I mean, that's very appropriate. Yeah.
Yes. It's a very applicable gift. It's engraved with their name and dates. They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then on the, we do different gifts for Mother's Day, Father's Day, but the last gift that comes for every package is on the anniversary of death.
Okay.
It's a tough day. It's a
Yeah.
tough day. And so it's a beautiful crystal photo keepsake. So we get a photo of their loved one.
Huh?
It's 3D. It looks like they're looking at you.
Wow.
And the response from everyone is this mix of like love and joy and just, just intense emotion when they open that gift.
Wow.
It's all the things that you feel that day and you're
Right.
able to see their face. And so,
Wow.
we've been very thoughtful and intentional in the gifts and my one group that we support are women who have miscarriages and stillbirths. I feel
Okay.
like it's a silent grief that
Yeah.
people don't see. And the first person who ever got a gift from us was a woman who had had a baby that lived 48 hours.
Oh, I was going to ask you what was the first
Yeah.
experience? So you jumped out in and so tell me about that experience. Like, you're launching this brand new business. You hadn't done it before. You you really didn't know how people were going to react other than whatever, you know, research you've done. But I mean, the truth is, until you do it, you don't know. So tell me
You don't
about
know.
your first client. Yeah.
Yeah. So this woman, her baby had lived 48 hours. Her boss actually had remembered that and heard about our business.
Okay.
And so she purchased this knowing that the upcoming anniversary of this loss was imminent.
Okay.
So she ordered it. We sent out their first gift is a crystal sun catcher. It's a sun catcher.
Uh-huh.
And this woman messaged and said that it was the darkest day she'd ever had. This was the year anniversary. And she walked out to her mailbox and she opened it, and there was a package with a dove on it. She thought, well, what the heck is this?
Right.
And she said, and I went in and I was standing by my kitchen window and I opened it, and it was a sun catcher. And on the darkest day of my life, I had a prism dancing on my kitchen walls.
Wow.
Changed the tenor of the day, right?
Sure. Sure.
And that is my favorite, will always be my favorite review
Yeah.
because she said nobody remembers a baby they never met.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say that
Right.
would be one of the ones that would be the most difficult because
Yeah.
you didn't have a relationship that you could quantify. I mean,
And her words were, no one remembers a baby you never met.
right.
And she's the one I can never forget. Right. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and it showed up at just the right moment. And so that's
Wow.
what we do for people. That's what we do. That's how my
Wow.
son's legacy is paying it forward.
And how how do you find people? Like, I mean, you don't see billboard, on the freeway. How and I mean, I guess there's, mortuaries and places that are dealing with these folks, but I mean, how do you broach that?
Yeah, so we've got a pretty, aggressive social media
Okay.
presence.
All right.
We're on Pinterest, which I didn't know this, but Pinterest is really like a marketplace. People
Oh,
get on there to look for gifts that they want. And
all
so
right. I
we're
thought it was a
there.
place people swap recipes and stuff.
They do that too.
Okay.
We are working with some life insurance companies,
Oh, okay.
funeral homes.
All right.
And, I am doing podcasts and writing
I love
articles
it.
and just
Yeah.
getting our story out there because it matters. It matters. No one does what we do.
No.
And these timed, tangible gifts of care matter. They really do. They really do.
And so when you get a client and they reach out to you, how do you have a survey, an interview, or how do what
So they just
information are you looking for so that you know how to tailor this?
Yeah. So for the individual consumer, you just go to our website,
Huh?
you pick the relationship that they have to the departed, and
Okay.
everything is done for it. You don't have to do it's done. We
Oh,
need
okay.
their name, their date of birth, their date of death. You have a year to upload a photo.
Okay.
And if they were married, we need you to decide if it's going to be the wedding anniversary or Valentine's Day. That's it.
Okay. All right.
That's what we need. You do that, and we literally take care of the rest. We
Wow.
will send you an email and tell you, hey, don't forget Joe's wife's birthday is, next week. We're sending the wind chime, but
Oh,
you
okay.
don't
So
have
you
to
send
do
them a
another
reminder
thing.
that you're going to be doing your thing so they don't.
That's right.
Okay. All
That's
right.
right.
Wow. Wow.
That's right. So that's what we do for the consumer. For businesses, we can curate things a little bit more, but it is super easy for the individual who just wants to do something for someone they care about.
Nice. And you're based on the East Coast. Whereabouts?
Orlando, Florida.
Oh, no kidding. All right.
Yeah.
But you service everywhere.
Yeah. We do all of the United States.
Nice.
We're not international yet.
Okay. All right. And so when did the business officially launch?
So we kind of soft launched to friends and family last year, but we are like full service live. It's just been a couple of months
Oh,
and
wow. So you're just hitting the ground running.
hitting it. Let me tell you, we are hitting it running.
Nice. And so
It's super fun.
when somebody signs up for this, it's not, I mean, it's a product. So it runs its course. It goes for 1 year and then it's finished.
Yeah. It's a one-time purchase for a collection that lasts
Right.
a year.
Got
Mhm.
it. Got it. And so in the amount of time that you've been out, how many customers have you serviced?
Oh my goodness. I should be able to just give you that number off the top of my
It's all right.
head.
I'm a business owner myself, so people ask me questions like I don't know. Go look at the book.
My son could tell you. My job is to bring them in. It's his
All
job to
right.
process.
Well, you're doing your job well, and so this has just been amazing. You've taken. I've always one of these guys who I've been an entrepreneur all my life, and I'm a lemonade guy. You give me something bad, and I'll turn it into something useful. I guarantee you. And you've certainly exemplified that. And so Kelly, why don't you think, there's so much that we've gone into, but our guests, usually I try to have our guests leave our listeners with a thought. What do you think that would look like?
I think my thought for your guest is really, if we keep living, we will lose. That's just you will experience loss if you keep living, right? The only way to escape that is death.
Right.
And so when the people around you, your colleagues, your friends, your family, people around you lose somebody that they love, stay close. Be the one who's present. Just show up. Just talk about it. Don't ask them what they need. Just do. Just do. They're not in a state to answer that. Just bring dinner. Just watch the kids. Just do for them. And be the one that makes a difference. They will never forget it. And you will never forget filling that space for somebody you care about.
Wow, that's beautiful, and definitely, I couldn't agree more. So why don't you share with us your valuable information? How does somebody find you and reach out?
Yeah, so on LinkedIn, I'm available just as Kelly Edmondson. There's a D in the middle of that, Edmondson. We are thetimelypresence.com. On Facebook, we are The Timely Presence. On Instagram, we are Timely Presence. And you find me on Instagram at the.Kelly Edmondson, EDMONDSON.
Well, beautiful, Kelly. This has been amazing. I didn't know how this was all going to play out, but it's remarkable. And, I often invite my guests to come back and share additional stories. I suspect as you get further along into this, you're going to learn a lot and have more to talk about. So I certainly would welcome you to come back at one point and share your progress. But just grateful that you're able to come out here and tell your story.
Yes, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Well, this has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine. I want to thank all of our listeners for making the show possible, and we will see you next time. This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.